Have you ever wondered why, after all the studying, all the strategies, and countless hours staring at charts, you still can't find consistency? Let me be clear, it's not your system. It's not your indicator. It's your mind. But not just any mind. A mind retrained to operate under uncertainty without losing control. A mind that thinks in terms of probabilities, not guarantees. Because the way you naturally think, the way you've been wired to survive in the real world, is exactly what's holding you back in the markets. And you're not alone. This was Mark Douglas in 1982, bankrupt, broken, standing in an empty house, his Porsche repossessed, his career in ruins. But what happened next would reshape the way the world understands trading forever. He didn't just write The Disciplined Trader, he lived it. From bankruptcy to becoming one of the most respected trading psychologists of all time, training Chicago floor traders and institutional investors across the globe. His insights gave birth to a revolutionary idea. That in trading, your greatest edge isn't your system. It's your ability to execute it without emotional interference. Imagine being able to look at the market without fear, to place a trade without hesitation, to see every setup not as a promise, but as a probability. That's the mindset of the 10% who win consistently. Not because they're smarter, but because they've mastered the internal game. Warning, this isn't for traders who believe the market owes them something. This isn't for those chasing perfect entries or magic indicators. This is for those ready to confront the hardest opponent in trading, themselves. Your brain was built to protect you from pain, from failure, from risk. But in trading, what protects you out there destroys you in here. Your emotional brain, the part that reacts before you can even think, doesn't know the difference between a lion and a red candle. It senses danger and takes over. Your heart races, your breathing shortens, your body tenses. That's pure instinct, that's evolution, and in real life, it's kept you alive. But in trading, that automatic reaction is your biggest enemy. Every time a trade moves against you, that primitive part of your brain screams, danger. And you obey. You exit too early. You move your stop. You take profits too soon. Not because your analysis is wrong, but because your nervous system can't handle the discomfort of waiting. And that's the paradox no one tells you. In life, avoiding pain is smart. In trading, learning to sit with pain, calmly, is what makes you wise. Do you see the difference? It's not about talent. It's not even about experience. It's about your relationship with your own mind. The average trader chases certainty, seeks validation, wants to be right. The professional has learned to operate inside the chaos. They've trained their mind to stay precise, even when everything in their body is begging to run. And you don't get there by learning more indicators. You get there by unlearning the way you've been conditioned to survive. Your natural impulse pushes you to trade from fear, urgency, and the need to control. But the first step toward transformation isn't to stop feeling those emotions. It's to observe them, recognize them, name them, without letting them drive the wheel. How many times have you closed a trade early just because you couldn't stand seeing red numbers, even when your plan said to hold? How many times have you entered a trade on impulse because you felt it, ignoring your own system? That wasn't you trading. That was your nervous system running its ancient programming. A professional trader doesn't aim to win every trade. They aim to execute their edge, over and over with discipline. Every trade isn't a battle. It's just one data point in a sample of 100. And once you understand that, individual outcomes lose their grip on you. The real work isn't in the chart. It's in the space between an emotional trigger and your ability to pause, breathe, and act with clarity. A probabilistic mind requires a calm body, neutral presence, no euphoria, no fear. When you stop trading from need and start trading from conviction, your decisions change. You stop chasing validation and start following process. And that's where the magic happens. The ego wants to be right. The trained mind wants to be consistent, even if that means taking a loss today, because it did the right thing. That's the true line between amateur and professional. Not control over the market, but control over yourself. Think about a casino. It doesn't care if someone wins today, because over 1,000 spins, the edge always plays out in its favor. That's the mindset you need to build, not one that reacts to the outcome of today, but one that trusts the law of large numbers. That kind of mindset isn't something you're born with. It's something you train, and that training begins the moment you stop chasing certainty and start committing to disciplined action in the face of uncertainty. A casino doesn't need to win every hand. It knows it'll lose many, but it doesn't flinch, because its power isn't in short-term wins. It's in the long-term edge it executes without hesitation, over and over again. No emotion, no impulse, no doubt, just probabilities, executed with precision. That's the mindset that separates a professional trader from a reactive gambler. And the best part? You can build it. If you're ready to stop operating like a survival-driven human and start thinking like a professional trader, this is where that journey begins. A casino doesn't play. A casino doesn't guess. It operates with rules, limits, and a system. And when that system is executed enough times, the outcome is guaranteed. The house always wins. That's exactly how a professional trader thinks. They don't chase price. They don't improvise. They don't trade on feelings. They follow their plan like the house follows its math. Cold, focused, unshaken. The novice, on the other hand, acts like a gambler who thinks this time will be different. They enter without a validated plan, without understanding their statistical edge, driven by emotion, not logic. 2 wins and they get euphoric. 1 loss and they fall apart. They treat the market like a roulette wheel. And just like the average gambler, they eventually blow up. Even when they get lucky, it doesn't last. There's no structure, no repetition, no consistency. Each trade is a reaction, not an execution. There's no strategy, just impulse. And just like a casino never plays, the professional trader never gambles. Every move has a reason. Every risk is measured. Every exit is intentional. The difference isn't luck, it's mindset. One thinks like the owner of the game, the other like someone begging to win. And just like a casino, the market doesn't forgive traders who lack an edge, or those who have one but can't follow it. That's why consistency doesn't come from perfection. It comes from disciplined repetition of a real, tested process. Now picture this. You enter a trade, price moves against you. Your trading plan says, hold. But your body panics. You close early. Then price rebounds, right to your original stop level. You feel relieved. At least I didn't take the full loss, you tell yourself. But that's a lie. The next day, it happens again. Another entry, another red candle. You move your stop. This time, you get stopped out. And moments later, the market rockets toward your original target. Now you've lost twice. And worse, you've destroyed your own edge. Then, you review the trades. And suddenly, it's obvious. If you had just followed your plan, you would have had 1 small loss and 1 solid win. With your risk to reward ratio, you'd be in profit, but your need to avoid pain destroyed your math. You didn't lose because of your system. You lost because you didn't trust it. That's the kind of mindset that doesn't work in trading. A mind trained to seek instant relief, not to withstand controlled discomfort. That's why you close early. That's why you cut profits at the first sign of a pullback. That's why you abandon your plan the moment fear kicks in. Because your brain screams, do something. And you obey. You're not trading your plan. You're reacting from instinct. But trading doesn't follow the logic of everyday life. In life, if something hurts, you avoid it. In the markets, if a trade hurts, you return to it with the same strategy. No fear, no revenge, no system tweaks. That contradiction breaks emotional traders, because every loss triggers their survival instinct, and clarity disappears the moment emotions take control. This is where emotional traders fall apart, because every loss activates their defense system. And when that happens, clarity disappears. And without clarity, there is no execution. Many traders have solid analysis. Their setups are valid. Their strategies are sound. But their minds aren't trained to tolerate risk without reacting. So the system doesn't fail. The trader executing it does. The trader who wins consistently isn't the smartest, isn't the most technical. It's the one who has trained their mind to think in probabilities and tolerate emotional discomfort without breaking structure. They accept losses as part of the game. They don't take them personally. They understand you don't need to be right to make money. Like a professional poker player, they don't operate from ego. They operate from edge. That's the real power of a probabilistic mind. It's not chasing wins, it's chasing consistency. Every time you trade from the urgency to protect yourself, you've already lost. But every time you trade from the calm of a clear process, you're winning. Maybe not today. But over time, time will be on your side. Training a probabilistic mindset isn't about luck. It's emotional discipline. And while few possess it, anyone can develop it if they're truly committed. And it all begins with a single decision. Stop reacting the way you always have. Because if you keep repeating your reactions, you'll keep repeating your results. So the next time you lose a trade, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, did I follow my plan? If the answer is yes, then you did your job. And that's all that matters. A probabilistic mind doesn't judge results in isolation. It evaluates the quality of the decision. Just like a surgeon who follows every protocol, but still loses a patient. It doesn't mean they failed. It means they faced uncertainty and did everything right within it. The market is the same. It's not about winning or losing a single trade. It's about doing the right thing again and again, repeating your edge, even when the outcome hasn't caught up yet. Because in a probabilistic game, the one who wins isn't the one who's right the most. It's the one who executes the best. At the core of every consistent trader is one word: judgment. Without judgment, there is no process. And without process, consistency is just an illusion. The emotional mind seeks approval. It wants every trade to confirm its value. It needs to be right. But the trained mind doesn't care about validation. It cares about execution. It's focused on one thing, following the plan. No shortcuts, no excuses. And how does that change begin? Not with some massive breakthrough. It starts in the smallest of places. With awareness. Watching how you think when you trade. How you feel when you lose. How you decide when the pressure is on. Before you open the chart, stop, breathe, scan your body. Are you tense? In a rush? Then you're not ready. Pause, center yourself. Your breath is your first anchor, and your body never lies. If you learn to listen, you'll know whether you're trading from fear or from presence. Keep a trading journal, but not just for numbers. Write down your thoughts, your emotions, before, during, and after each trade. Because patterns don't just live in charts, they live in your mind too. Once you start recognizing your patterns, you'll realize that your mistakes aren't failures, they're feedback. Every emotional mistake is a signal, a clue. It points to a belief that no longer serves you. Maybe losing hurts more than it should because you've been taught that loss equals failure. But in trading, losing isn't failing. It's just part of the game. And if winning fills you with euphoria, be careful. Euphoria is dangerous. It makes you feel untouchable. And the moment you think you can't lose is when you're most at risk. A trader who thinks in probabilities understands that 5 winning trades don't guarantee a 6th. That's why they don't break their plan when things are going well, or when they're going poorly. Their discipline isn't tied to results. They know the market owes them nothing. They don't force it. They don't fight it. They take what the market gives. And every time you follow your plan from entry to exit, celebrate it. Not because you won, but because you did the right thing. That kind of intentional repetition builds the one edge that matters most. A trained mind. You don't need to predict. You need to be present. You need to act with clarity inside the chaos of uncertainty. And that's impossible without a transformed mindset. Humans crave certainty. We want guarantees. We want to be right. But in trading, there are no guarantees, only probabilities. The emotional mind wants to avoid being wrong, wants to feel safe, wants to win every time. The probabilistic mind knows it can lose often and still win big over time, That's the real difference. And it's why most traders fail, not because they lack skill, but because they think the wrong way. They believe that if they do everything right, the market should reward them. But that's not how this works. Imagine flipping a coin 100 times. You know the result will average out close to 50-50. But even then, you might see 10 heads in a row. Would you panic? Would you abandon your system? An emotional trader would, because they haven't trained themselves to handle variance. They don't think in probabilities. They only think in winning now. The professional trader isn't trying to be right on this trade. They're trying to be right across 100. They think in aggregate, not in isolation. That mindset isn't inherited. It's built. It's developed over time. And it starts with one statement. I don't control the outcome. I only control my execution. That's hard to accept, because we're taught that if you do everything right, you're supposed to win. In school, in work, in life. But in trading, you can do everything right and still lose. Will that make you quit? If it does, you're not thinking like a professional. You're thinking like a gambler. The emotional mind takes every loss personally. The probabilistic mind sees it as just another data point. Expected, normal, not a reflection of self-worth. And that's the real divider between peace and panic, between discipline and sabotage. You want different results? Then you need a different way of thinking. A probabilistic mindset isn't cold, it's conscious. It sees each trade as one of many. It doesn't attach, it doesn't dramatize, it just executes. Think of a professional poker player. They don't win every hand, but they know when to play, how much to risk, and when to fold. Trading is no different. Your edge is in your method, your risk management, your patience, not in predicting the market, but in being prepared for whatever happens. That's the mind you need to build. Not perfect, but disciplined. Not anxious, but grounded. Not obsessed with winning, but committed to process. And when the hard moment comes, and it will, that mind won't crack. It won't panic. It will breathe. It will observe. It will act without drama. That's the kind of mind that turns an average trader into a consistent performer. And the best part? You can build it, step by step. If you're willing to commit, try this. Write down your expected win rate and place it in front of you every time you trade. Let it remind you that losses are part of the formula. They're not mistakes, they're part of the math. Then, take a sample of 20 trades. Don't evaluate them one by one. Evaluate the set as a whole. Did you follow your plan on each one? That's what matters. That's how you start thinking in probability clusters, not isolated events. It lowers your anxiety. It strengthens your discipline. Another exercise. Before you trade, visualize a losing trade. Let yourself feel the frustration, then breathe. Breathe until your body calms down. You're training your nervous system to handle pain without panic, because the moment will come, and you want to be ready for it. Remember, you can't control the waves. You can only learn to surf them. That's what it means to trade with a probabilistic mind. If you open a chart already afraid to lose, you've already lost. If you enter the market attached to seeing green, you're already blind. Only detachment gives you true vision. The mind that wins isn't the one that predicts. It's the one that stays calm, trained, present. And that kind of mind isn't born. It's forged through daily practice and intentional discipline. Top traders aren't naturally cold. They've trained their response. They've trained their minds to act, not react, when fear strikes. They don't try to control the market. They control themselves within it. And they protect that control, like it's their most valuable asset. Because it is. You can't control whether a trade wins or loses, but you can control the mind that executes it. And that changes everything. The transformation starts when you stop thinking like the average human and start thinking like a professional. You can keep chasing the perfect strategy, or you can start training the mind that runs it. The choice is yours. This channel isn't for people looking for shortcuts. It's for those ready to build real consistency. This isn't motivation. This is trading mindset.